All hell's breaking loose in the Middle East again. And before I go further, unless you're Gen X, I've hated Iran longer than you've hated Iran, okay? I lived through the overthrow of the Shah, the hostage crisis, the gasoline rationing. You could only get gas if the last number on your plate was odd or even, depending on the day. I remember all that. I've hated Iran plenty. I want our troops to do well, but we have an incompetent regime in charge of our troops, and I fear for them not doing well. They went into this war without enough ammunition, without enough oil. Who the hell does that? If you read The Art of War, it's literally the opening chapter is logistics. It's really important. You'd think Pete Hegseth would cover that. Well, now, Iran is owning Trump. They're using Epstein to own Trump. They're saying to their people, do you really want to be ruled by the Epstein gang? By a bunch of child sex predator protectors? Is that who you want to be ruled? Like, there was the possibility of an uprising, but then we bomb a bunch of civilian stuff. We bomb their desalination plants. Now, they already had a water problem. I mean, they're in the fucking desert. That's why they have desalination plants. We bomb all this critical civilian infrastructure and their children while they're going to school. That's not going to win hearts and minds, man. They don't even want to win hearts. Winning hearts and minds, that would be woke. That would be woke. They don't want to do that. So we're continuing down this path, and they're using Epstein as propaganda against Trump. Epstein, Trump's dark past is going to harm our troops. It's going to harm our troops. The fact that our president is likely a pedophile is harming our troops. Now, why do you say that, Michael? Well, because I live on two primary principles in life that keeps me out of a lot of trouble. It's called logic, reason, and evidence. If you don't have those, well, that's where you can go. Logic. Is it logical that Trump is a pedophile? Yeah. Based on his actions, the conviction of rape, even though that wasn't an underage girl. Based on logically, yeah. Is it reasonable? Yeah, that's reasonable. After what he said on Access Hollywood, grab him by the pussy, yeah, it's reasonable. Logic, reason. Now, evidence. Well, we have credible accusations of Trump raping at least one 13-year-old. So credible that the FBI had to interview her 3 times. The MO seems very much like Trump, although he didn't, walk up to her, start kissing her, and then grab her by the pussy, like he did, a couple of his rape victims have accused him of doing exactly that. Him laying out his MO, maybe that's circumstantial evidence, but I think it's evidence of his MO. It's personal evidence, evidence of his personality, and the fact that those FBI interviews exist, that's evidence. That's evidence. Could be faulty, could be not faulty, but it looks like they didn't look at it hard enough. Then in that evidence, the victim says that she'd been threatened every year, and then when the 2016 election came up, she was threatened a lot, and her mom was threatened a lot. The threats increased, and then she's found with her head blown off in a way that the coroner said absolutely could not be suicide. Logic, reason, and evidence, so far, until somebody refutes the evidence, does an actual investigation, but logic, reason, and evidence so far points to our president being a pedophile. Now, Iran using that as propaganda is, it's damaging for us. It's damaging for our troops. It's going to put our troops in more danger because the citizens aren't going to rise up and overthrow their government. They're going to rise up against us. But having said that, Iran has child marriage. The legal age for child marriage is 13, unless the family approves. And then if the family approves, they can be married at any age. I've heard of 8-year-olds being married off in Iran. So Iran can talk all the shit they want, but they have pedophilia written into their law. So they're no saints, but being able to use that as propaganda is effective. I'm not going to let them slide on that propaganda because they're more pedophiles, than we at least say it's wrong. We're not doing anything about it, but we say it's wrong. They don't say it's wrong. It's not wrong in Iran. Now we've got 2,500 troops going over there. CENTCOM absolutely asked for Ukraine's help to deal with the drone situation. Ukraine is on the ground in Iran, putting their people in harm's, or on the ground in the Middle East, putting their troops in harm's way to help us because we asked. In a recent interview, Trump says the last person's help that I would ever need is Zelensky. Zelensky's the reason this war is still going on. Well, yeah, because Zelensky won't surrender territory that the Russians haven't been able to take. Has anybody paid attention to what's gone on in Zaporizhia? The most intense battle for the last maybe 2 years? Russians losing territory. Russia's losing territory. They keep losing. The only boost that they've gotten is the United States loosening sanctions against them. Why they do that? Putin has the Epstein tapes. Beyond the P tapes, Putin has the Epstein tapes. But guess what? Iran probably has the Epstein tapes, and I really hope they drop them, or the Epstein files. I hope they drop them. Iranian hackers are good at their job. They've been hacking into Truth Social and the FBI for quite some time. I'm sure they have those files, and they should just drop them. Drop them. Take down this entire regime. That'd be great. Yeah. Iran still sucks. They're a terrible government. They're brutal, and they fucking suck. And yes, they are religious extremists. Guess what? America's run by religious extremists now. I'm a pagan, so I take that kind of seriously. When they tell me that a country is a Christian country, and beyond the Muslims, the pagans were the other targets of the Crusades. And holy wars, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm still a pagan. If you like my take on the news, well, we're Gen X. We're different than some of those other guys. Love those other guys. Love all the independent media people out there doing a good job. We're different than them. We don't profess to be Christian over here. I don't. And it's Gen X. So why don't you follow? Give a follow. Give a like. Leave a comment. I love comments. I really want to talk with people. Argue even. If you disagree, tell me, man. We'll get into it. We will get into it. You and me, we'll have a flame war, man. Get in there. Hit all them buttons. Michael Correll from the WTH News Network. On point. I'll see you soon.